Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, you're having a great week. It's already Thursday. It's insane. This week goes by so fast. I know I said it every week. I just have like the same opening, but it's just crazy how fast everything goes by. But hopefully, it's having a good one. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna play a little golf. We kind of got rained out last week, but we're gonna play a little bit golf. Before we get into today, just want to let you know this episode brought to you by Titleist and the brand new T-Series irons. If you're interested in the T-Series irons, I say go get fit at a Titleist fitting event. It is an amazing experience. I had a great time. I loved going out there, hitting all the new T-Series irons, a bunch of different shafts. It was an absolute blast. So if you question getting fit, go do it. And a Titleist event is a great time to do it. It's just a lot of fun. The guys are there, the fitters are there to get you into the right equipment, get you dialed in, and it was a blast. So for me, it was amazing hitting T100, 150, 200, and 350. I got to hit them all. It was awesome to see kind of the ball flight differences, spin differences, all that stuff between the sets. The 100 feels amazing. Great player's iron. The 150, little added distance, little added forgiveness, slightly larger size. T200, totally redesigned, better sound, better feel, and just absolute rocket ships. And then the T350 launches super high, goes forever, just an absolute distance iron and forgiving iron for players who need and want it. I got put into, as you guys know, a set of T200 in the 4 and 5 iron, and then a T150 in 6-through pitching wedge. When I hit those there, it was just, my fitter and I kind of looked at each other as soon as we put that steel fiber shaft in there. We just knew that was the club. The 150 was it. But then we got to the 5 iron and the 4 iron, needed a little bit more firepower, and I've always kind of looked at that. And those the top end of the bag, I don't carry enough speed. I need a little more ball speed, a little more height, and the T200 just was a great combo to fit in there. So my set ended up being awesome. I've loved playing with it so far. It's been a really fun time. And the fitting, they sent them off, had them built, I had them back. It was like amazingly fast. I was shocked how quick these irons came in. So please go do a Titleist fitting event. It's an absolute blast. Try the new T-Series irons. They're absolutely phenomenal. Go to Titleist.com to learn more about the T-Series irons and to schedule your fitting today. But again, welcome back to the show. I'm in my hot basement. I don't know what it is. It feels extremely warm down here. Maybe it's just me, but I had a little fan going and had to turn everything off for the noise side of it. And I'm like, man, it's still a little warm down here. So we're in a hot, humid couple of days here in Michigan. So I know that's nothing compared to some other people. I know some places are getting hammered with 100+ degrees. We'll be 90 tomorrow or today for the league. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so league tomorrow should be about nice hot 90. So I need to drink a lot of water, hydrate up today, and be ready to walk a little bit tomorrow. And then I think I'm playing this weekend as well with one of my brothers and my dad. So it should be a good time. I've been playing a little bit. Unfortunately, got rained out for league last week, which was a bummer. Went up there. It was pouring rain over at the St. Clair Shores Golf Course. And it was kind of raining when I left my house. It rained a little harder on the way. When I got there, it kind of started barely sprinkling. It was like, all right. And there were 4 of us who were going to go play, even though we canceled the actual league. And then I got inside into the bar where everybody was, the 3 other guys were hanging out, and we just looked down and it just started raining. Just started coming down. And there was a group going off 10. And we were just like, man, those guys look miserable. So we were like, you know what? Maybe not. And then it kind of slowed down for a minute. We're like, okay, maybe. And then all of a sudden, the wind picked up. We're just like, yeah, right. As you're watching the water just fly over the roof of the starter shack, you're just like, nope, I'm good. We're gonna go ahead and cancel this one. We're calling it. So didn't go out and play last week Thursday, unfortunately, but hitting some balls. Actually went to the range, all that. So been trying to get some swings in, trying to get some clubs to talk about, and there's a good amount of stuff to hit. So I was hitting more of the Apex Pro, and MB. I want to get a little more. So I went to the range last week. I was on a Friday, and it was a beautiful day. It was a little windy, but wind was going down. It was downwind, and it was weird. The spin numbers on every single shot from every single club were insanely low. I was hitting my TSR2 with a Ventus TR Red on the range. It was one of the 3 drivers I brought, and I don't think I had a spin over 2,000. and there was multiple high 1600s on there. And with every driver, I don't think I broke 3,000 with anything. And usually I'm like a high twos guy. I'm like a 25 to 3 guy. I'm just under 3. So 25 to 2,800 is kind of like where I usually ride. And I don't know if it was their range balls or what, but man, every club I hit was like a crazy low number. And most of the drives, I'd hit this like perfect looking trajectory, and then it would just fall out of the sky. And a lot of the irons, the same thing. Like you'd hit like a 7-iron, it would go, and then it would just fall, and you'd be like, that was like 20 yards short. And then you look, and it was 20 yards short, and then it was, and it was like a spin number that was like 5,000 or something like that. So, yeah, it's just kind of a crazy thing to see. So, it was kind of weird. So the driver stuff I was hitting, and even like those 7-irons with the Apex Pro and all that, I was hitting some really good shots that just seemed like just didn't go anywhere or whatever. And they didn't like granted, it's the driving range near my course or near my house, which I don't go to a whole lot anymore. Ever since like some new ownership bought it, it's gone a little bit downhill. And they've jacked, like maybe it's just me, but like prices, it seems like have gone up a lot. But the range balls are all like Wilson range balls, and they were all in my basket pretty good shape. I mean, I usually pick out like the worst ones and just hit like warm up wedges and stuff like that with them, but they all look to be actually in better shape than previous years that I've been to that range. I can get some pretty sketchy golf balls in there, but they look decent, and they just had like no spin on them. But they were Wilsons, nothing fancy or whatever, but they just it was weird. Like every club was crazy low spin, all that. So I don't know what it was. So numbers wise, I wasn't like, that impressed with anything. And honestly, a lot of the shots just, like I said, fall out of the sky. And maybe, I've heard of stuff like downwind, the wind will actually push the ball down and stuff like that. So maybe that's what was going on. But yeah, there was very, very few shots that I was hitting that actually went, where I thought they would and all that, other than maybe some little wedge shots to some of the short little greens and flags around that, you just kind of practice your short game with. So pretty interesting there. I'm going to get into talking some of the tinkering I've been doing here as well in a few, but like that's why I'm not going to, I was going to do a little bit more on the Apex Pro, Apex CB, MB and stuff, but I got to hit some more shots and stuff because it wasn't a good day, and there's really nothing to gain from it other than hit some good shots with them. So we'll talk a little bit about, I got one club to talk about that I've got out there, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the tinkering and all that I've been up to lately. But the first thing we'll talk about is there's a new hybrid in town, and it's super, but it is Callaway's Super Paradym Hybrid. Or the Paradym Super Hybrid. So it's I'm gonna see what's the official name. Yeah, the Paradym Super Hybrid. So if you weren't familiar with the Super Hybrid before, that was Callaway came out with a Super Hybrid kind of around the Maverick time, I think it was, because it was orange and all that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see me point this thing up there. If you want, you can watch on YouTube, just search Golf WRX Radio, and you can check it out there. But Paradym Super Hybrid is it's kind of a big tech pack hybrid that like I said, they made before as just called the Super Hybrid, and it was orange and all titanium, had a carbon top, and it came with like a I think it was a Tensei Orange Pro hybrid shaft and all this stuff. It was super high end, very expensive, and this is very similar. The only difference is it's now called Paradym Super Hybrid, and they kind of went away with the Mitsubishi shaft and went with a UST recoil dart shaft in here, which I don't know the prices on this, but I gotta believe it's less than that Mitsubishi Tensei Orange Pro. So nothing wrong. I'm not knocking the recoil, but this bad boy is $399, so it's not cheap. But it is a hybrid. They make actually far more lofts than I thought in it. This is the 18, which is the 3 hybrid, and then they also make a 2 hybrid, which is a 16, an 18. 21, 24, and 27. So they make 2 through 6 in this bad boy, which is pretty cool. And then they make the shaft you can get from a light flex all the way to extra stiff in this dart. And then, of course, all the custom options. But the big thing, titanium body, titanium face, and then they have a speed cartridge in the bottom and a bunch of internal weight to make this bad boy high launching and forgiving. And or I wouldn't say high launching, more penetrating launching and forgiving, and the carbon fiber top to, again, allow some movement of weight, which is pretty cool. And it's got that same kind of Paradym look with the two little tabs near the back there. But overall, an interesting looking hybrid. It definitely looks like kind of like a mini little fairway wood. I would say it's not a whole lot smaller than the UW, maybe just a little bit, but it's definitely deep face. It's long heel to toe, and it's made to go a long, long, long way. So when I took it out, I set it down, and I do say it actually sets up kind of nice. I feel like the last Super Hybrid kind of set up a little bit shut. This seems like it sits a little more square in just the neutral standard setting. When you do add a little loft, it doesn't close it that much, which is nice. I added 1 degree to kind of hit it at 19, and it didn't really shut the face at all, which was kind of nice. I hate when that happens. It happens a lot of times with most clubs that are adjustable. This one didn't notice much of a closure of the face at all. It pretty much stayed pretty square, which is nice. I didn't move it into the +2, but did move it into the +1. And it's kind of a good looking club. It's kind of grown on me the more I've hit it. When I first saw it, I was like, nope, I don't really love it. As I've hit it, as I've seen it more, all that, I've kind of grown a little more to it. I've kind of liked the look a little bit. And as I said, it's a little bit of a mini fairway wood when you look at it, and between having the 16, 18, 21 degree options, you can definitely replace a wood with this bad boy. It is long. So hitting balls with it, the first thing, hitting balls, sound and feel is really good. It's kind of got that, as you'd expect, being titanium. It's kind of got that like little higher pitched ting to it, but it's not crazy loud. It's pretty muted. Usually stuff with carbon fiber tops, it mutes some vibration, so nothing usually gets too loud. And it overall sounds and feels really, really good. Even miss hits, you still get that kind of muted sound. You get a little more of a crack sound than you lose a little bit of that metallic ting as you get out on the toe or a little bit into the heel. But dead center shots, you get that little bit of ting, and it really does, give you that feeling that the club is, or the ball's jumping off the face, which it pretty much is. But on there, really good. The sole is pretty flat there. It's got just a little bit of roundness to it, just a little bit of radius, and then with the adjustable hosel, everything kind of has a slightly bulky look to it. I mean, I know adjustable hosels and fairways and hybrids, some people just aren't into because of that, that bulkier look. But overall, the whole thing's a little chunky, and I think it blends in pretty darn well. The shaft, is US2 recoil dart, is done in kind of like a almost ion mirrorish blue color to kind of match the blue accents of the head, and then you've got the Lambkin Crossline 360 with a little chevron logo on the top. So overall, decent package, solid package. And on the course and on the range and all that, pretty interesting that it does fly a little flatter. And I noticed this with the original Super Hybrid. When that came out, I hit that, and I thought it was a very, it was definitely not like a high launching super, to me it wasn't like crazy forgiveness, all that. It was kind of like almost it was definitely long, but it just flew flatter. And I thought the person this was geared at, which is probably the older golfer looking for a little more distance, all that it would launch really high, kind of come in soft. And the original Super I hit came out flat. It was really a penetrating flight. This is, again, a lot of the same for me. Now, half the time hitting it was on a range that had range balls that didn't spin, and I never saw, I want to say the average spin on this thing was like 3,500, which, again, I'm not saying that is this thing yet, but it definitely is low spin, because out on the course, off the tee, this thing hits, for me, kind of low bullets. It reminds me a lot of the UW, a little flatter, mid-launch. I think it's definitely more forgiving than the UW. It's got more of that perimeter weighting and stuff, and it definitely stays on line really, really well, no matter where you hit it on the face. And it is definitely long, keeps up with anything around 18, 19 degrees. It keeps up with, but sound and feel is really good. Launch a little bit flatter. Like, I think I averaged a launch around like 11.5 degrees out there when I was hitting it on the range, and that seemed about right. There were one or two shots that I kind of hit out a little bit to the right that had a little higher, softer shot, but most things that I hit straight or had a little drawn, it would definitely come out a little low. And I was a little shocked at that too, because they sent this 18 in with like a regular flex shaft, and I just left it in there because I didn't have another hybrid shaft to put in here that wasn't like an inch and a half short from like a 21 degree Paradym. So I put that in there, was going to try it, and the swing weight was so crazy light that there was just no way it was going to work. So hit it with the regular flex shaft, which I figure would launch it up even higher, and it still came out flat. So like it was about 11.5 degree launch for an 18 degree club. Now part of that is me as well, because anything deep face like this, I tend to get a little steep, hit down on it, de-loft it, because I feel just mentally to hit it in the center, I have to definitely get ball first, get down under it, and I tend to get a little steep with it. So that I'm going to put on me, definitely, a little bit. But I don't think this is something that you're going to compare to, say, like a G430 Max, and that just goes straight in the air, goes high, long, and straight. You'll get the straightness out of it. You just aren't going to get that super high shot. Or at least I didn't. Now, players who hit a really high ball, they may have no problem elevating this thing anyway. I didn't have a problem getting it initially off the ground. It just kind of stayed flat and penetrating in terms of ball flight. So just kind of different what you'd expect from a lot of hybrids, especially something with the Super Hybrid name and the size and all that. You'd probably expect for it to launch super, super high. And I don't think it does. I think for most players, you're going to see something that launches a little more flat than some other stuff out there. Distance-wise, it was long. Ball speed was really good. I mean, I think I was swinging this thing, I remember it was like 92 miles an hour, and I was seeing ball speeds in on average, I think the average was like 132. So everything across the face that I hit, I think I was averaging like a 144, 143 smash. It was something really, really high for a hybrid. So ton of ball speed, and I hit a decent amount of shots from the middle of titanium on the face all the way into the heel a little bit. I was hitting stuff across the whole face, and ball speed never felt like it wasn't hot. Everything seemed like it jumped off and went fast. It really does go. If you're looking for a hybrid with some serious ball speed, this thing could definitely do it. And I can see where a lot of people, especially some really high ball hitters, could put this in the bag instead of, say, a fairway or something like that. I mean, with a 16 degree, you can turn it down to 15 and almost make it a 3-wood replacement and make it maybe a little bullet hitting fairway finder. Definitely down with that. It's pretty cool. And it definitely, on the course, it plays really well. I hit it a little bit higher on the course, so I would say between course and range definitely flew a little lower, where I actually had numbers on the course. Definitely flew a little bit higher. Definitely landed a little bit softer. Off the tee, it's great. It's an absolute killer. Again, as I was saying, for somebody who doesn't hit fairway woods well and wants to have something that they can just, hit a little long fairway finder off the tee, gain a few yards compared to maybe something they had other than this. Definitely easily doable. Off the tee, super easy to hit. Still penetrating flight. I was able to launch it a little higher there, but still get roll out of it. And you could hit this thing at an 18 degree. I was kind of carrying this thing about almost like 225, not carry, total yardage like 225, and a little bit of that was some roll, which was nice. I'll hit my 7-wood off the tee, and it'll be maybe 215, 220 at the most off the tee, but I don't get any roll. It just hits and stops, and that's it. So if it goes 218, it goes 218, and that's all you get. This, you definitely would see much more roll to it. When it hit, it would kind of run a little bit out. Now that's great for all the tee. Into greens, for me, this doesn't work quite as well. I didn't really hit too many shots that hit the green with it yet. But hitting it off the deck into the green, I could definitely see where you're going to have to play some release. You're going to have to play to kind of the front of the green or something like that and let it roll out just a little bit, because it doesn't quite go as high, at least for me. And as I look at that through hitting some shots, I don't know if this would necessarily find a spot in my bag. I mean, I really like it. I like the sound, like the feel. I kind of like the setup of it. But I think, I would need to go like the 20 degree and turn it down to 20 or something like that. And play the gapping there. But this 18, I turned it to 19 when I was playing it, and it was pretty close to my 7-wood, just flatter, shorter, or just flatter, and ran a little bit. So definitely longer. But again, my 7-wood just lands so soft. It's just easier to hit up in the air than this is. But very forgiving. I mean, anything you hit on the face, wherever you hit it, it went pretty straight. I mean, it may go a little more straight right or straight left or something like that, but it didn't have a ton of curve. It stayed on line really, really well. And even on the course, I mean, other than kind of one swing where, again, deep face, hybrids and fairways, I get a little over the top and steep on it, trying to hit the center of the face. other than that, hitting it way left, was able to actually hit it pretty decent, and actually get it to go pretty far. And even no matter where I hit it on there, it definitely still went. So this thing definitely has some distance to it. It's kind of an interesting thing. I was thinking of who does this go in the bag for? And to be honest, I think it's anybody who is just looking for more distance out of kind of this top end of their bag, or they're trying to find that gap between 3-wood and 4-iron, or 3-wood and 5-iron, or whatever they play. And I think there's enough of these that as long as you're not looking for something to go crazy high, or you're a really high ball hitter, I think you could find one of these that fits the gap really well, and they'd be really easy to hit, really forgiving, and one of those maybe trusted clubs as you hit it more and more turns into that, struggling day. I need to hit the fairway, but I don't want to just lay up with an iron or something like that. I need to hit the fairway and have a little something on it. You can go to this and get that shot, and you're not going to give up too much distance, compared to whatever else you would have hit off the tee in order to find the fairway. But overall, it's a really solid hybrid. I liked how it played. I liked the sound and feel of it. I wish I would have the 21 degree just to see how it goes. I think that one would fit my bag just a little bit better. And also, I think hitting it up higher, I would be willing to guess that I'd hit this one, the 18. I bet I would hit the 21 degree farther, because I think I'd get it up in the air higher. It'd still probably carry a ton of ball speed, and it would probably go just as far as not longer with that 21 degree. But it's a really nice hybrid. It's a really good kind of fairway wood replacement, especially if you're somebody who hit fairway woods, you hit them super high, and you lose distance with that. You need something that flies a little bit flatter and lower, a little more boring ball flight. This thing I think is going to offer that while still giving you that accuracy, that shorter shaft, that comfortable swing that you would get from a 7-wood or 5-wood or something like that. Because there's certain players that they just can't play those high lofted fairways because they hit it too high, they spin it too much, and I think this would give those players that option to have something else in the bag to gap the top of their bag. But overall, a really good hybrid. Love that it's adjustable. Love the sound and feel. I think they did a really nice job with it. I'll give it it's expensive. I think they could have went with a slightly higher end shaft for what they're charging at $400, just like they did with the previous one. But the performance on it is really good. The dart shaft is good. It's pretty tight. It's pretty darn consistent, and it goes. I think it complements this head pretty well. So, if you're somebody who also just wants a more forgiving hybrid, something you can hit it anywhere on the face, it goes pretty straight, still goes pretty far. This thing, this Super Hybrid, does all of that as well. It gives you a big area to hit it off of, and anywhere you get it on that face, it keeps some good ball speed, and will give you that distance that you probably need and want. So, if you want to check out more about the Paradym Super Hybrid, go to CallawayGolf.com. It's on their main page. You can go check this bad boy out, and it is a pretty cool piece. It's kind of fun. I might reshaft it and see, but I feel like the 18. I just need to hit it a little bit higher. I was gonna pull out a different shaft and put it in there. I didn't know what I had long enough, and then I was like, you know what? I don't hit it high enough with this shaft. So what am I gonna do with another shaft? If I put something a little bit heavier, a little bit stiffer, or whatever in, what am I really going to gain out of that? So I'm going to keep it long, or keep it the way it is. I don't know if I'm going to play it much more, but I did like taking it out, and I love the sound and feel of it. So again, if I can get the 21, turn it down to 20, I think that could be pretty darn good. So, but then also you look at man, maybe I can get the 5, turn it down 1, and you could take place of a 4-iron. But I'm hitting the eye crossover pretty well, and honestly, I've just started hitting the T150 4-iron pretty well as well. Also, so those two are kind of in a little bit of a battle going on. But this thing has been was pretty cool to hit, and pretty exciting. So it'll be interesting to see how many of these make it in other people's bags, how many people start talking about them, because they definitely are cannons, and they're definitely all about ball speed. I can feel like they're kind of like a kind of Detroit muscle car, like an old Chevelle. Maybe it doesn't handle amazing, doesn't steer great, whatever, but straight line it goes stupid fast. That's kind of like this. Ball speed, crazy fast. It goes. So that's my thought on that. But It's not necessarily the Porsche or Ferrari carving the canyons. It's the Chevelle just hit the gas and go like hell. So, but that's the Paradym Super Hybrid. Go ahead and check that thing out. Like I said, CallawayGolf.com. It's right on the front page, but if you have to, you just go under clubs and then the hybrids, and you'll see it right in there. It'll probably be the first one because it's brand new, so it'll be the first one there, and you can kind of mess around, build your own, and see what you like. So that is that, and then so what I've been tinkering with, a bunch of stuff. I'm excited to talk about MG4. I think I'm going to talk about that next week because I hit a bunch of the MG4s last week or a couple weeks ago, and then I just got the TW grinds. So I got the TW 5660, and I really want to hit those. I was hitting them at the range. I didn't get to hit them yet on the course. I'm going to take them out tonight and then probably this weekend. So super excited to hit those. The TW, the 56 just looks really cool. I mean, with that, those beveled edges and all that. The beveled leading edges on the 60 and the 56. A little bit of, and then a bunch of that heel relief on the 56. But still pretty high bounce for both, a 12 and a 10. I'm pretty excited to hit both of those. The MG4s themselves have been super high spin. I mean, their faces are like sandpaper on them. They're just like, when you rub them with your towel like sticks because there's so much traction and all that. So those I'm excited to. So I'll probably do MG4s next week after being able to hit some of the regular ones as well as the TWs. I'll be able to kind of talk about both, which is pretty cool. As I mentioned, in the 4-iron spot, the eye crossover is so good. The Bing eye crossover, I've loved it. But I've kind of started hitting the new T200 4-iron that I got fitted to in the set. I kind of hit that really well also. So I haven't hit it as much off the deck yet. Off the tee, it's a little bit shorter than the eye crossover. But they both go high. They both go pretty well. They both seem to be really forgiving. I just got to hit a few more off the deck with the T200 to see if that maybe has a chance of dethroning the eye crossover. I don't know that it will, but the T200 definitely sounds and feels better. So out of those two, definitely better sound and feel. So we'll see. There's a little battle going on there. And then I built up, I don't know if I talked about it before. I mentioned it when I was doing a Q&A on the main Golf the BRX channel on Instagram yesterday. And somebody asked about building a counterbalance putter, and I built up a PXG's new Battle Ready 2s. They came out the Apache. And it's a big mallet, kind of actually looks like a spider, the way it's got the little wings and all that. And it's a super heavy head. I want to say mine was like 300 man, it was heavy. I want to say it was like 380, 390 grams, right about, maybe 383, whatever. It's got 4 movable weights, but it's a super heavy head, and they sent it in like 33 inches with one of the new larger no-taper grips that PXG's making, and I yanked that out, and I put in a 140 gram shaft, so a little bit heavier shaft, and Nippon NS Pro 140 gram shaft. Left it out at like 36 inches, I think, something like that. I think 36. And then I didn't have one of those 17-inch long grips because nobody had them. Superstroke was sold out. But I had a wrist lock grip that's like 15 inches or something. It's longer. So I put it on with the wrist lock section pointing down. So, or, backwards, back towards my belly. So it was basically just like a square kind of flatso grip. And I built that thing up, put a 50 gram Superstroke counterbalance weight in the butt end, and took it out. And I tell you what, that thing so far, I've got 9 holes with it. I want to play with it a little bit more before I, totally talk about it. But that thing is ultra stable. It just, as long as you pick your line right and you get the speed, I mean, that thing is going to stay on line and stay through the stroke. It just stays. It doesn't want to move. It's almost like you can't move it. It is very, very stable. Now, I made it just like a hair longer, and it just, depending on the shirt, if the shirt's not tight enough, it does catch my shirt a little bit because I got a gut and it hangs down. But really, really stable. I really like messing with that so far, and I've been impressed with it. So that may get another run this weekend, but I putted well with it when I took it out to my league 2 weeks ago when we played. So I'm going to take it out again, play with it, and then we'll do some more talking about it, because it's pretty cool. It was an easy thing to do, relatively inexpensive if you want to build your own like counterbalance putter, I guess. I mean, it's still not cheap to buy all the parts and all that, but it worked out pretty well. But that Apache's super stable. Like, right when I got it, I think I handed it to my brother on the practice green. I was like, dude, like, check this out. And he was like, whoa. He's like, he's like, I like this. He's like, this thing is stable. And I was like, I know, it's crazy. So even he kind of liked the way it felt. So I've been messing with that. The other thing I messed with was I finally got the I-230s shafted up. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see them over my hand over here. I've got the I-230s shafted up with the Axioms, so they are ready to go. Got those all done. I just got to toss some grips on because the shafts ended up being like a ½ inch long. So ended up having to put small tip weights and everything to get them all to D1. So I got to throw grips on 6 through pitch, and then they'll be ready to go. So I might do that tonight, so I can play with them tomorrow and play with them this weekend. But they kind of feel really good. I kind of like them. I'm excited to take them out and hit them. And then somebody also said I should put the Axioms in the PXG 0317 CBs that I have as well. And I thought about that, and I almost did it. I have ferrules for those. I just didn't. So those have Project 6.0s in them right now, and I was hitting them at the range. I was hitting them pretty good. Man, they are so soft. Those things feel so good that I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to leave them for now, and then maybe I'll put something else in there. I've got some KBS PGI 100s that I think could be pretty good, 100 gram, kind of S plus flex, but they're still kind of mid-high launching. So I think those could actually work really well in those heads, and they're 370 blanks. So PXG heads are basically 370, so I wouldn't have to turn them down to 355s, which is great, because it's just a pain to do. It's not hard or anything. It's just tedious. It takes a while, just sanding these things down, and I hate doing it. So if I could put them in there as 370s, just prep the tips and toss them in, that would be pretty awesome. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll probably do I might do the 100s in there, or just leave the 6.0s. I mean, I was on the range, I was hitting those 6.0s pretty good. The 6.0s with those 317 CBs, I was hitting them pretty well. So we'll see if maybe I'll leave those in there and keep them the way they are right now. But I don't know. I don't know if I love that combo, even though I was hitting it okay on the range. I didn't hit them that great on the course. So we'll see if they stay or go or what. But that's one that's definitely interesting. And then the other one that I've been messing with that I've been really loving is I've been hitting the Cobra Aerojet Max. So I've hit the standard, I've hit the LS, and I had the Max head, and I kind of didn't give it a whole lot of love, only because like the way it sits, it almost sits like a hair closed in the standard setting. So I didn't necessarily love that, but I've been hitting that. I hit it with the VA Composites Regime 2.0. And it was killing it when I was down in cold water on hole 3. It's a par 5, and you hit into this like a little. There's a valley, a little ravine, and then so the fairway goes out. It drops down this little ravine, comes back up, and the rest of the way to the hole. And unless you can basically carry it onto the other side of the ravine, anything you hit down there just stays down there. So I mean, it kind of neutralizes a lot of like. If you're a longer driver than somebody else, and you both hit it there, and you hit it on the bottom, and it just stops. Other person hits the little downslope, it runs down to the bottom, and you basically have the same shot. It kind of neutralizes a little bit of length, and if you're crazy long, you can maybe get it to the other side. But that is an absolute monster shot. So, but on that, I had the Regime 2.0 Aerojet Max 10.5, just put in standard. And hit that thing, and I hit a really good ball with a little baby draw on it that actually kind of hit and ran up a little bit of the hill. I don't know if I've ever had one up the hill or on the upslope of the hill before. Everything usually sits in the bottom, or maybe you catch the very, very start of it. But I was like a little ways up that upslope, and that was crazy. I've never had a ball. I don't think I've ever had a ball out of all the times playing and get up that slope, so for me that was pretty good. So I had that thing out of the range. I had TR Blue in it, and it was one of those like couldn't get enough spin on it to save my life. So we'll take it out of the course again and see how it works out there. But the Regime 2.0 worked really, really well. I think I'm gonna try it on the course of the TR Blue, see how that goes, and just because you have a head that launches a little higher, maybe has a little bit more spin, you can put, something maybe a little lower launching, like the TR Blue compared to the Reshine 2.0. So really a good head, and honestly, like, not as much draw as I thought. I mean, I know it's got two movable weights, and if you take the 12-gram weight and put it in the heel, it's heavy draw. If you put it out in the back of the club, then it's supposedly neutral. So we'll when I had it there, I had it set in neutral, and I didn't really notice a huge amount of draws on anything, and hit a few balls out there that were just really, really big. I feel like the ball speed on that thing is probably one of the best out of all the drivers that I have. So I'm going to mess with that a little bit more. I might even try that Sinister shaft in there as well, even though it launches lower. I might see about putting the VA Composite Sinister in there too. So a lot of different options to go with there. And then TSR2, I put my the TR Red back in just to kind of mess around with it, because the last time I was hitting it, I was hitting it kind of low, just a little bit flat. So I was like, maybe I'll put it in red, see if I can bring a little launch back. And it, at the range, of course, I don't think I had a ball spin over 2,000. I want to say the highest shot I hit on that range with that thing was 1,900. So it was just everything was dropping out of the sky. So it was like, if you hit it 230, it was like the best shot that I could hit. So little disappointing there, but I'm gonna get that out and hit, and then hopefully, also fingers crossed, I might have another launch monitor as well. So instead of full swing, I'll have something that might work a little better into my net, or at least give some better numbers into the net. So I'll let you know when I get my hands on that. Hopefully, I'm hoping maybe tomorrow I'll get it, but we'll see. So. But I know this episode a little bit short, but that's kind of all I got in terms of the tinkering side. Always messing with other stuff as well, but we'll see some reshafts, maybe those 0317s, and I'll let you know how those pings with the Axiom goes. I think those I-230s could be really, really good with those shafts, so we'll try that, and then, kind of see where it goes. So if you want, please follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. If you're watching this on YouTube, great. If you want to watch it on YouTube, search Golf WRX Radio. There's a whole Club Junkie playlist, so you don't have to watch everything else. You can just watch my stuff. And then TG2 is on there, as is Golf's Perfect Imperfections. Well, we're all on there. So, yeah, I think that's all I've got. Hopefully you guys have a good week. Get out, play some golf. I know I am. And then we got Labor Day coming up, which is crazy to think about, the next week's Labor Day, but I'll play a little bit of golf then as well. And then we're going to get into some fall golf, and hopefully I can do some on-course chatting it up stuff, because that's always fun. But, I think that's all I've got. Until next week, get out, play some golf, have some fun, and, we'll chat it up next week, see how some of these experiments do.